Welcome back to Afternoon Live. Does carrying a balance on your credit card boost your credit score? Do you know how much time you really need to save for retirement? Well, our next guest is here to dispel common myths people have about money. We welcome the author of How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. Financial educator Steve Siebold is with us today. Steve, love the title. You can say that about many things in life, I'm sure. But we're talking about money today, so I like it. Thanks for being on. So we're talking about myths today, and we already asked a couple of those common questions, and I'm already answering them in my head. So let's go over that first one, that a credit card balance will improve my credit score. You hear that all the time, that it will, that you need to have some sort of credit card open so that you have a good credit score. Is that not true?
No, it's not true at all, but that's exactly what the credit card industry wants you to think, so you carry a balance. We're being played here by the industry, and that's not something that's uncommon. So no, the only way you're going to improve your credit score is to pay your bills on time.
Really? Okay, so even for your 20-something, student or whatever it is, they don't need some sort of credit to show to buy a car or a house in the future.
Well, it's good to show credit, but put it on the card and then pay it off on time. That's how you're going to build your credit.
Okay.
Establish your credit.
Okay, like it. Okay, this next one is, I have forever to save for retirement. That is not true, I'm assuming.
No, the years go fast, and what you're losing every single month that you wait to really save for retirement is the effect, the magic effect almost of compound interest. Because when your money's compounding monthly, it's almost magic on how it can grow over a period of time, but it needs time to really compound.
What is your best tip to save from retirement? How much do you need? How much do you put away?
Well, it depends on your lifestyle. I mean, that's why you want to work with a financial professional to tell them what your goals are and what your timeline is, what your age is. There's so many variables. There's no way to make a wholesale suggestion, but that's why you work with a financial professional to figure that out.
And that's the next one, is as far as having a financial advisor, what are the questions you need to ask to somebody to see if they should be your financial advisor?
Yeah, Tom Matthews and I say this in the book. Don't try to hike this mountain alone. Get someone that you trust, that you connect with, that's a financial person, that'll sit down with you. And I would look for someone that that truly wants to help you and is not just interested in how much money you can invest in their products.
So if you don't know anyone though, and you're making those cold calls, what are some questions you can ask to see if you can trust them, to see if they have your best interests at heart?
Well, that's a really good point. I mean, I would get a referral just like you do for a doctor or a dentist or, lawyer or anything like that. Ask friends, ask family members, who they can refer. And there's so many people out there that are really good people. You just have to avoid the ones that are not.
Do you have like a favorite financial book besides your own, of course?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it depends on your level of sophistication. My favorite financial book, I think the best financial book of all time is The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. It's probably more for people that are interested in the topic of finance. Tom Matthews and I wrote this book so a 14-year-old could understand it, because most of us don't really understand the basics of money. We're not taught in school. And this book, literally, you can read it in an hour and understand everything you really need to know to succeed with money.
At what age do you think we should start getting really sophisticated and talking to our kids about money?
Well, the basics, you can probably start with people, kids that are 10, 11 years old. It's amazing how smart the kids are. I mean, they live with these smartphones, right? Mm-hmm. They don't know a world without them. And so they're much more sophisticated than we were, and they probably know more than we think they do. They have a calculator on their phone, and you can show them all kinds of things. And that's, again, we wrote this book for kids because they don't teach it even in the high schools or colleges.
That's so true. Okay, home ownership is the American dream, so it must be right for me. A myth or not a myth?
Well, it's the American dream because that's what Sears and Roebuck wanted us to believe in the 1950s. They sold it as they made that up and said, this is the American dream, so they could sell us things we couldn't afford. I mean, it's nice. Home ownership is nice if you can afford it. But the idea that home ownership is an investment is not really true. Home ownership is a liability. I had a 100-foot tree in my front yard fall down in a storm yesterday. It's going to cost me $3,000 just for someone to cut it up and take the wood away. It's a big tree. And so you have expenses like that on a regular basis. So if you can afford it, great. But understand that it's not an asset. It's a liability.
Did you just say, really, truly, a tree just fell yesterday? Or are you just giving an example? I'm so sorry. That is terrible. But it's very true. There's always something when you own a home, right? And then you own those costs as well. At what point is it good, do you think, as far as knowing that you can afford a home? What does that look like?
Well, when you have an emergency fund of, let's say, 3 to 6 months cash, you've got your investment accounts, your retirement accounts. If you have kids that are going to college, you're saving for their college and you're financially stable and you've got everything covered, then you might want to look into owning a home. Otherwise, you might want to look into renting.
And this is one myth you say is true. You should be grateful for all that you have, right?
Well, we're very lucky in this country. I mean, if you've traveled around the world like I have been for 25 years, you see that we live in Disneyland. I mean, the world does not look like the United States of America, the rest of the world, unfortunately. There are people, half the world spends their days looking for food, half the world. So the statistics are not great. So we have to be grateful that we even live in a country this rich and this abundant.
But you should still have big money goals, even though you're grateful. That's okay.
Well, yeah, because we live in a country where the streets are paved with gold. If you start a business or you're an entrepreneur and you can solve a big problem, you can be financially independent and live a life that most people only dream about.
And that's why we need your book, is to help us do that. Steve, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great tips today. We're going to have more information about Steve on our website at KATU.com. Don't go away. Afternoon Live will be right back.